This is CloudBean. I've got one server setup, a single server. There are 5 managed applications. Yes, I've got Supabase and n8n as well, which are on the same server.
Same
That's the
server.
best.
Now we are having everything in one server. Front end, back end, n8n, everything is just in one server. Nothing is leaving this one server.
And they help me set up this entire thing, including my applications, including my tools, installing them, deploying the code, running them, testing them. CloudBean has benefit of a CI/CD integration. Each time I make a change, it can make it live.
How did like CloudBean support and then Rian?
Well, to be honest,
So, hello, Rohit. Welcome to the AI Agents winner circle or champion circle or expert circle, whatever we can call it. We don't have a name yet, but we just want to, recognize the journey that you have taken and hopefully inspire others to take the similar journey in terms of building or going into this agentic world, right? So now with this, I just want to really get to know you, your journey about this. And before we start off, let's just give an idea about your background till before you have taken your journey of creating AI agents through no code tools, developing and then basically deploying it. And now you have your own company with your agents and your own software, right? So this entire journey happened in an accelerated way, right? So we want to capture this and hopefully give a good journey about how others should be doing it in this new world of rapidly evolving technology, right? So no longer the theory of learning theory and doing stuff does not apply, right? So we want to capture this journey. So before we start off, just want to take who you are. What was your point of journey, like when you came to this accelerator, the circle here right now, AI Agent Accelerator? Before that, what was your journey? Like, why come into this field? First, let's start there so that people get an idea of what, why they should be also doing this or what motivated you to take the decision. So let's just start there. Just tell them about yourself a little bit.
sure. Thanks, Kunaal. And yes, you can refer to me as RJ. That works well for me. So, and thanks for having me here. I'm very excited to be here, to share the journey. You've been very instrumental in also helping me accelerate. So, this is a great opportunity for me to talk to you about this. So, yeah, I've had a corporate experience of 23 years before, I took the plunge and said, okay, AI is the new buzzword, and this is where I want to jump and start building something big in AI.
Yes, I remember couple of months back you told, and then you quit, and then this journey. Yeah, so it was like it didn't happen overnight. It was a months stretch decision. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, obviously, you've got to make certain decisions based on certain parameters. But yes, of course, each life is different. Each person is different. Some people learn much, much faster than, what I would have learned as well. And yes, what we are currently doing is in the company that I've set up, it's a small little startup right now, where we are helping, small and medium businesses adopt AI in their everyday processes. Okay, we help audit their current processes to find out opportunities where AI can be implemented.
Wow,
We
this
help
is
them
good.
with setting up AI platforms, right? Which is based on, the audits that we do.
Yeah.
And then we also
And
train.
is this primarily in the HR, sales, marketing, which like the department?
Yeah, so that's the benefit of AI. You don't necessarily need to be confined to one
Correct,
space. Yes,
correct.
sure. I have got largely experience of operations, MIS, and HR, but
It's a culmination of a little bit of data reporting, understanding the business, and like so we have business one side, MIS, which is data a little bit, and then you have now AI coming in. But these all skills are like intertransferable. Can go to any department, and that's what the beauty about AI is. What you're saying.
that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, for example, the chatbot which we made for some manufacturing company,
Yeah.
right? And which is positioning it as a marketing expert, in a way to say, for increasing their online sales. Then there is another voice agent that we're making for a real estate company, which
Yeah.
is actually doing sales. So, we're touching about marketing, we're touching sales, even though my experience has been into HR. So
Correct.
I'm no longer confined to a particular
Yeah,
branch per se.
yeah. I think so. You brought it an interesting point, Rohit. Here, what RJ here. So what's happening is that because AI is accessible to everybody and it can pretty much understand any job, the world is moving. Like we become more generalist. We don't confine ourselves to one. We can learn about any domain and then combine 2 or 3 departments ka work, and then we can launch agents within that. Right. I think so. That's where the interesting times we are going into. right? Absolutely, I completely agree, Ajay. Yeah, please
Yes,
go ahead.
yes. I'm with you, Kunal. And that's where the benefit of launching AI is that you don't need to spend as my clients, right? They don't need to spend as much when it comes to, oh wait, if I do something in one department, what about the other department? This can be a generalized
Yeah.
platform which serves almost everyone.
Like how data was there earlier, like you can have one data in all departments, and you can use Power BI to like create the reports for this thing, right? Like now AI agents can just plug into any department, and there is one thing happening here, we can replicate also within different departments. Fair enough.
Precisely. That's true.
Cool. So thank you for telling me your journey. So 23 years of experience, now expanding into multi-domain kind of part of it, multi-industry, building AI agents, doing training, and now you have your company where you are doing training and you're basically building AI agents, custom flows, and across the various departments. Perfect. Now, before all this could happen, now you have to come here. Now, once you came here, I'm sure there must be something going on in your mind, right? Like, because the journey is long, most people are overwhelmed, they don't know which tools to use. So, what was going in your mind? Like, what was the first step that what should I take? What was the panic or what was the chaos in your mind, right? Let's understand that part of it, before we understand, we move to the next step.
Sure. So, Kunal, one of the things that, I think everyone would agree to is that the pace at which development is happening in the AI world, right? It's crazy. Anthropic
Exponential.
launches
Yeah.
something, OpenAI launches something, Gemini comes up with a new model, and then there are these so many tools which consume these models and they come up and do so many things. For example, presentation, you want to create something, there is an email writer, whatever you can think of, there's probably a tool available for that already, right? So with this, there was a sense of overwhelm.
Yeah.
When I started doing this and I started getting into the rabbit hole of AI, right? That is so vast that every time I open my LinkedIn feed, I just realize, okay, this is something that I don't know yet. This is something I don't. And the more I learned, the more I realized there is so much more to learn, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But I kept telling myself, okay, let's start simple. Let's keep it simple. And which is where I was looking at different tools that could help me in basic automation things, right? And then which could accelerate and grow into like a full blown prototype or a minimum viable
Well,
product.
product, yeah, something that customers can potentially use and try it out or something like that, right? Okay.
Right. And in that endeavor, I came across tools like Zapier. I saw Make. There was n8n. Honestly, initially when I started using n8n, I was a little apprehensive. But later on, thanks to you, by the way, Kunal, where I was able to get, the connectors in. And it really helped to see it is very simple and yet it is so powerful.
Correct. Absolutely. I mean, I was mind blown first of all because see, I know Zapier and there are other tools that are here. We chose n8n for a reason because cost and ease of doing and all that thing. But primarily, one of the things that inspired me to make you work on this thing is, remember you showed me that big mind map about the HRs, right? And you had this blueprint made on a certain slide or PDF where you had this massive blueprint. Kunal, this is what I have in mind. Like, so that's one of the things I want to tell everybody, right? That if you have a plan like that, right, if you want to execute it, then n8n becomes one of the easier, most far cost effective, production ready kind of a tool. And so that is because you had that thinking already of what you want to go after, right? Which often a lot of people don't realize, that if you don't know what you're going after, or you don't potentially have even a vague idea of what it's going to look like, the end product, then it's very hard to do. But you had that already. So one of the biggest advantage. So I'm sure you might be thinking like, how do I get this to reality? And right, you showed me one portion and then you told me, to one portion, and then you told me there are these very portions that we had, right? And so we told, okay, let's pick one and let's first solve that problem, and then that journey became a very big journey itself, right? So that was the place that you were there, and it just helped me understand like what that blueprint came in, like what you thought of putting that idea, because a lot of people don't jot the ideas down, right? So what was going on in your mind? Because there's overwhelm at one side of getting that down, but you had one thing. From a vast majority of people, you had a blueprint, right? That's a very, very massive start for anybody who's getting into doing something with AI.
Yes, and I'd agree, Kunal. Knowing where you're going really helps you to get there faster, right? When I was, all these years I've been dealing with certain things in the corporate world, and I realized, if we're able to put some of these things together, and if there is a layer of automation on top of that, and if there is a layer of intelligence on top of that, right, would really help. And this is where automation and AI came in together. I had the blueprint in my mind. It was very sketchy. Okay, what's going to happen first? What's going to happen next? But once again, I used AI only, and I used some of the tools. And I was
Oh,
experimenting.
just give a glimpse of all the tools that you use currently. Like I mean, Gen AI level at least. I know you use Anthropic for coding stuff. Like what else the other couple of tools you use?
Sure. So yeah, the tool that I used for creating a blueprint was Mermaid. So I went to ChatGPT and I said, okay, this is a vague idea that I have, and I described it in really in a good fashion. And I said, okay, could you give me a flow chart for it? It said, I can't give you a flow chart. I can give you a mermaid script. So I realized, okay, what is mermaid now? Right. And I went out there and I pasted the script and I got the whole flow chart ready. It was so beautiful, right? So Mermaid really made that flowchart available for me. Of course, I could make my own edits. So that was one of the tools. Of course, I use ChatGPT heavily. I use Gemini. I use Claude. By the way, now lately I've started using Claude for and Perplexity Labs. Thanks to Airtel, now Perplexity Pro is
Is
free,
free.
right?
Yes, yes.
So a lot of people can take advantage of that. And with
Yeah.
the Pro version, you get Labs. Labs helps you create certain prototypes as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And
And we have that. So in the accelerator program now we have a module for Perplexity Pro. So all three levels of Pro Search, Research,
and Labs.
and Labs. All three, the basic starting way of doing it, and people can do that. But absolutely, so you have Perplexity, you have Mermaid, you have ChatGPT, you have Anthropic, right? So all these tools, just as you moved, you got through that. So you used all these generative tools again to accelerate your iterating and blueprinting process, and then you had your own blueprint ready, right?
Yes.
Perfect.
And with the blueprint, and as our discussion, honestly, tools are a good thing to have for sure, but also coach, right? When you have a coach by your side, who patiently listens to you, makes a lot of difference. This is what, Kunal, you brought forth, and I want to acknowledge you for that. That, even though I had the blueprint in my head, even I had it on paper, but when you sat down and heard me out and said, okay, let's attack this one problem, let's solve this one problem first, actually helped me get that focus in and grow, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Move in
yeah.
that one direction.
Correct, correct. Yeah,
Then I
absolutely.
used n8n, right? And when you introduced me to n8n, I'm like, okay, can I solve this problem with n8n? Let's try.
Yeah.
There was a little prompting knowledge that I gained, because I'd done a few courses earlier as well, and I'm always curious by nature, so I keep learning something new. I would go out there and prompt, ask the LLM for giving me a prompt for doing something like this, which
Correct.
I could feed to another LLM and see what the output's like.
Yeah, this is a very interesting trick actually. A lot of people don't know, right? You use one to get the prompt and you use that prompt in the other. So I use like Lovable and Anthropic to create the Lovable prompt, and then I put it in Lovable because you have only 5 times on the free. So you can just use the prompt part of it and doing it. And so, yeah, so this is a very nice trick. Good. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, just to add to that, the other day I was just traveling from one place to the other, and there was like a 1 hour travel time, and I was just sitting there doing nothing while the driver was driving. In that 1 hour, I built another module of that entire blueprint in just 1 hour, and I described the entire idea to ChatGPT and said, "Okay, give me a prompt," and I used Replit.
Okay.
Okay, so while I was trying the different tools and I wanted to see what are and I used that and I put it in Replit. Replit, while I was traveling in that span of 1 hour, of course, there were these back and forths that were happening. And I was doing it on my phone, on my mobile phone, right? Not even on a laptop. And it created a full-fledged front-end application, which I was amazed to see myself. And I said, okay, this, if it goes live, it's going to make a lot of difference.
So awesome. So you tried a bunch of tools, you had your blueprints, there was this thing, right? And then, as you told, we picked one problem, right? And often that's the importance of coach and having collaboration actually, right? And it goes two ways, right? When we spoke, you gave me a couple of ideas of how we can take the program ahead and gave your inputs of what you should learn and not learn. And then, that's the thing. That's why we are, more going in a more collaboration mode, because everybody's trying something. Not all the attempts will pass, but if 50, 100 people, 300 people right now, we are try different stuff and fail and tell, okay, here's what works, right? Everybody's journey just gets accelerated, right? So it goes both ways actually. So enter the first step. So now you had your blueprint, you had the chaos, and we channelized the energy to pick one thing from the blueprint, and then we told, okay, let's build it on n8n. Okay, right? The no code AI agents tool. And then you started your journey of building the n8n. You did a couple of sessions, and then you went on your own and you translated your blueprint in the n8n, right? So that's where the accelerator part of. So help us just understand in this journey, what are the steps that you did? Like what are the things that you learned, and then what you built, and where you got stuck mostly, right? So that's the thing that we want to see?
Yeah, sure. So, when I built the working prototype on n8n, right,
Mm-hmm.
I always saw that, this is powerful and
Mm-hmm.
it let me do a lot of iterative growth, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of tools, connectors in n8n, which I used and I said, okay, can I make this better? Can I make this faster? Can I loop this?
Mm-hmm.
And so on and so forth. But after that, I always had this in mind, अब इसको productionize कैसे करें? How are we going to make it
Mm-hmm.
into a viable product, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has to have a front end which a
Mm.
user will communicate with. Now,
Correct,
while
correct.
giving a few demos to a few, so this tool that I built helped,
Mm-hmm.
as I said,
Mm-hmm.
help assess CVs against a JD, but it also adds a layer of intelligence when it comes to, okay, what's the criteria based on which you want to assess those CVs, right? So this got a
Mm-hmm.
scoring criteria which is important to me. Your company could be hiring a Java developer, for example. My company could be hiring one, right?
Yeah, yeah. So this is good. Before we move there, so you
Okay.
had one problem, right? Let's just double click on the n8n journey. Like, because see, even if you have that entire print, right, you need to pick up some skills on n8n to be able to do it, because it can be daunting when people look at it. I think it's easy after you get used to it. But what was the couple of things that you did? Like, let's say top, step one, step two, step three,
Mhm.
to get accustomed with n8n, and then you building this blueprint and interfacing it, which we'll cover next. But yeah, that's where the place is. n8n, yeah.
Yeah, so with n8n, of course, some of these things that I got stuck with was basically the connectors, the credentials.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I intend to do something,
Mm-hmm.
what part will help me, right?
Got it.
And I think a few of these sessions that when I attended with some other use cases,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
that you
Yeah, yeah,
could,
we have eight odd use case. When you started, we had like four or five. Right now we have like eight
yeah.
use cases. So yeah, precisely all these use cases are designed to cover scenarios, in potential scenarios in which you will need to cover the nodes. So you get familiarity at least for all the nodes in action, not in theory.
Right. And that's exactly what happened. That's why, and now I understand why you call it the accelerated growth.
Yeah,
Because while we were dealing with some other scenario,
yeah.
some other use case, I
Mm.
saw that, okay, this is a node that could help me somewhere else.
Correct. Yeah, like that.
And that is what I took back and I said, okay, let me try this out. And when
Mm-hmm.
I tried that, that worked for me. And I said, okay, this is lovely. And that is how slowly and steadily, block by block, it's quite like a Lego piece, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
the beauty of it. Just put one
You
block,
Yeah, you learn about a lot, Lego. Okay, this is how this piece works, and then you plug it into your
plug it in there. Correct.
yeah, yeah,
So
perfect,
yeah,
perfect
so with that, I built that thing.
flow. Yeah.
I
So
didn't have
so
a
two,
database.
you didn't have the database
Uh,
right now. Yeah. So basically two portions. One is you went through a couple of these modules, because the nodes is how to configure the credentials and how to make it work is what the experience that you require. And we have enough number of use cases that show you all the nodes, how they work together. Right, with that knowledge and with your blueprint, now you can plug it together, right? So this is where I like to point to everybody that whenever you are working with it, our use cases are designed to give you the nodes ka experience, how to configure and all that thing, but you still need to have what you're going after to be able to still utilize this, which you had, right? So let's say now you learned how to use the nodes, and then you built your own this HR flow that you are telling, right? So help me understand. Now we have to transition to the lovable part of it, right? So you still had questions about, okay, now how this flow will work and how the customer will use it and all that questions. Remember, we had to go through, right? So I remember in phone also, we're constantly 1 hour we are just identify what to how to put it, right? So your flow was complete, right? Like, how much trials you took to make it work?
I would not know the number of trials per se, but yeah, I spent about a week to 10 days in
Mm-hmm.
perfecting that. And I spent a good amount of time per day
Per
in
day.
getting that done, simply because I had that in mind that, this has to be production ready. But the simplified version of it was ready in, like, I think the
Yeah,
first,
the
second day.
POC, but like at least
Yeah,
the working prototype was ready in 10
by the
days.
second day.
Second day itself. Now the journey to make it like have an interface and all that is a bigger journey, and you
Yes.
need to understand more stuff within that, right? So that's where you onboarded like Lovable and Cursor, where we can integrate that particular tools, right? So help me understand in your this thing how you picked up Lovable and Cursor, and started doing
Mm.
the interfacing, and who helped you, or what was
Mm.
what you had to learn on your own, what was the support you needed, right? So that scenario.
Right, sure. So the first problem that I wanted to attack was, even before I moved to Lovable, I wanted to attack the database,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is the back end. Where
Mm-hmm.
do I save that data once all of that processing is done?
Mm-hmm.
So earlier, while building the prototype with n8n, I used a simple Google Sheet in Google Drive kind of a thing, where all the files of the resume files are getting stored in Google Drive and the reports are getting saved in Google Sheets, right? But I used Supabase. Supabase was, something that you recommended in one of your sessions that you could be using Supabase. And it was lovely. It's beautiful, plug and play. It's just so easily available. But more importantly, when developing the front end, so once again, I'd heard of Lovable, okay, while in my entire zest. But I made like a front end kind of a thing. If you
I
want, I
have
can
a
show it to
landing
you.
page. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's look at it.
Yeah,
And
okay,
in fact,
great.
also let's look while you're at it. Let's look at the flow that you have made on n8 and n8 also. So let's look at that also.
So this was the flow that I created, and the first block gets in the JD, breaks it down, understands it, and then saves that resolved JD.
Correct.
The
Yeah.
second block gets in the resumes, breaks it down, understands. Basically, it breaks them down here and understands it. Of course, it's employing AI to do that. And you see there is a Google Gemini that
Yeah.
I've used for doing that. There's also an OpenAI chat model. And then finally, there's an expert which actually takes in all of this information, and those broken down pieces are compared against each other. So, for example, education qualification against education qualification, right?
Just like a human would do it, right? Like they'll say
Like a
that
human would do
yeah,
it.
like the JD is here. Acha, ye education hai ki nahi, this education matches this education or not, right? So we can't just plug in everything and expect to do it, but we broke it into pieces. Perfect, nice.
Precisely. Right. And then there was the backend I just spoke with you about, which had some tables that I created. I don't want to confuse everyone, but yeah, there were some tables that I created for job descriptions, criteria.
Yeah, I mean, we need to have a little bit of data understanding at some point, and yeah, this is a good
But
input for me also, where we need to have some data modules within
that's right.
Accelerate.
But
Yeah.
initially, I used something like this kind of a mechanism where there was,
Google Drive. So before
Google
you
Drive.
went to Supabase or PostgreSQL, you did Google Drive first. So the journey when you're doing n8n, better to start with Google Drive and Google Sheet and Gmail and all that. And as you're moving towards making it more production ready, then you consider moving to Supabase and all that. Perfect. Good journey. Okay.
That's right. So basically, as I said, the reports would come up here. The criteria, the reports would show up here. This is a very shabby way to look at it, but it gave me the output that I was looking at, right?
Correct.
And I knew this could be productionized. Of course, it had these Google Drive where I would save things, which both of these were then moved to, the Supabase, which is the database, right? Now, the data is getting stored. Now, I need to display it to the customer. Also, take the input from the customer. So there's a front end interface which the customer will use to click and I mean, I can't expect my customer to interact with this.
Yeah.
Like this is the brain, but the face of the product needed to be built, which is where I use Lovable.
Lovable. So that's
Now
where
with
Lovable come in, right? Where you have this chat part of it, and this chat is connected to that backend within the n8n. So this reduces the development of the backend because you can do it without coding, and now you can code the front end with Lovable, right? So makes it very easy to deploy the app. Is that
drastically? It reduces the development time drastically, right? And on the left, I was simply chatting and prompting and chatting and prompting and going forth, right? You can see the history that is getting built over a period of
Did
time.
you take you use the 5 credits, right? Like every day, 5 credits, 5 credits, 5 credits, right? Even
Yes,
5 credits, is it enough to do?
Not really.
No,
Not really.
At some point, you have to feel the TKR subscription hota to we can do it over the weekend, right?
Yeah, precisely. So, what I used to do is I would wait till, this credit would basically renew for me, right? And then at 4:30 in the morning or things like that, right? So then I would wake up early in the morning, 7 o'clock, get some stuff done, and then, do
Wait for the other day. Yeah.
the
Okay,
next
nice.
day. Fair. And this is the output, right? Where I'm able to have a beautiful interface, okay, which really looked professional and attractive, right? It also helped me connect, right? Whatever is needed to be connected with not that it helped me, but it gave me this input, right? Now I have got the backend, which is a Supabase. I've got the front end, which is built with Lovable. Now I need to connect it.
So actually, there are three pieces. Actually, one is the backend. Let's consider that the n8n flow, right? And within that, we have one of the portion is going to be data, which was earlier Google Drive, but now it is Supabase, the PostgreSQL. Okay.
Correct.
The front end we have like React through the Lovable that we have. Okay.
But there's got to be something that takes the input from React or front end, which we build with Lovable, processes it with n8n, gets the output
And
back,
gets the output back. Yeah.
and
So
then
how
gives
did you do
it to
that?
database. This is where Rian Infotech really helped me, and I would love to give a big hats off to Rishav especially and Anisha, who worked really hard on getting this Lovable up with me. What you see right now is not the first cut, right? The first cut was very primitive. So Anisha brought in her expertise when it comes to designing with Lovable. Rian got in his expertise when it came to code. Yeah, so this is Cursor for you. Yeah, where of course there are these different codes. There are all of these different files that got written by itself by prompting. Now on the right side, there are these prompts, and I
So
could keep
what was
going
the
on and
need of the
on.
cursor?
Yeah, so because I don't know how to code, I'm not someone who knows how to code. So how am I going to connect things from Lovable, which is in React, give it to Supabase,
Supabase. Okay.
which is the backend, and also in the meantime invoke the brain, which is stored with n8n.
Got it. Got it.
So I needed
So
something that
for that,
does.
yeah. So you build the first interfacing with Lovable, and then you got that entire code base and you plugged it with Cursor. Okay.
That's right.
And then through Cursor, you are able to make all the like tables and stuff that you needed to make on Supabase, so that your front end can talk to the data and n8n together. So basically, that's where Cursor is needed to just like integrate all these stuff.
That's right. So, basically all of these tables also I didn't have to make by hand. In fact, not just the tables, there are storages, there are edge functions, there are other things as well, which are a part of the database, right? It's just that when you have a little sense, even if you just have a little sense and you can just read through it, you could see some YouTube videos to understand what is a database, right? Even if you just understand that part, right? You can effectively use Cursor, and Cursor is the one that went into the backend and created data tables for me.
Got
It
it.
spoke to the front end and said, okay, this is how the data is coming in. I need to do some validations when someone enters the data, right? I want the password to be at least so many characters.
Got it. Got it.
When they enter a birth date, it should be in certain format and so on. So all of that I didn't have to code, right?
Okay.
I just prompted it to Cursor. Cursor did the coding for me.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. So now we have several tools. Again, this is going in very accelerated format. Okay, already. So edited for backend. Google Drive was used for like storing and retrieving. Then you replaced it with Supabase. Those two are backend now. And then we had front end through Lovable. And then Cursor came in to like join everything, orchestrate everything together, so they're like talking to each other. And so finally you built all of this. Amazing. I'm sure you might have lost 2 or 3 kgs while building all these things. Okay, I know I lose a couple of kgs when I'm solving problems. So now this is built. The next challenge that we have is and which is where 95% of the projects fail, is deployment. So now deployment is another ball game. Like this, you built it here, okay, but this code has to still go to your website. What is your website?
Itemate.
So Itemate, right? So this is the Itemate. So when I say deployment, it's the simple act of bringing your application to a website like this, where people can then type in and start using the services, right? So this is deployment. Now this is another journey, Rohit. So how did you tackle this journey right now?
Wow. Right. So good. So, once we were able to get all of these tools to talk to each other, it was a singing, dancing thing on my machine. It didn't have to stay here. It had to, as you rightly said, go up to the server so that people could talk to it, right?
Yeah.
Now, putting it on the machine on the server, basically, once again, I was facing this challenges too. Okay, there is a React server. There could be a Supabase server. There could be a server that hosts n8n, and there are these different servers, right?
Yeah.
I didn't want to get into the complexity of so many. I said, can I have a single server? Is there a way? And that you remember our conversation, and I asked you, I said, okay, wait, you can definitely use KloudBean.
KloudBean, yes.
KloudBean really helps integrate all of these different servers, put them up for you.
And can you just show that KloudBean also while you're like
yes.
Yeah.
So this is KloudBean, right?
Yeah.
I've got one server setup, a single server. You can see that, right? There are 5 managed applications on it. And
so can you just click on that? Yeah, just
tools.
let's click on the server. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah. So that's your React, which is that thing, and then the Supabase interacting with Supabase, and then is a little bit of Python, right?
Supabase is in the tools part, where yes, I've got Supabase and n8n as well.
Nice.
Which are on the same server.
Same server. The best. Yes. Think of doing this with individual servers, right? Nightmarish. But now we are having everything in one server. Front end, back end, n8n, everything is just in one server. Nothing is leaving this one server. Okay. Perfect. So how did what were the challenges you faced while deployment, right? And how did like CloudBean support and then Rian,
Well, to be honest, this part of deployment is new to me. I've
Mhm.
never done it. I've never seen anyone do it. So I had zero idea about this.
Yeah.
While I had the entire working model with me,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and I was traveling, I was on a vacation at a cousin's place, and Vikram from CloudBean, okay, who's founded the company, and he's really helpful. He put his
Yeah,
team
the founder
together.
himself came. Wow,
Founder
very nice.
himself came. He put his team together. This was on a Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
I remember getting on a call with him at 10:30. I just asked him on a Saturday, sir, can we do this tomorrow? And he was very happy. He was that, okay, someone's asking me for help. I will help you. He was readily available. His team was available. And there are different things that different people, specialize in. So his team was there. In 3 hours,
Mm-hmm.
everything was set up.
Wow,
Once I
wow.
had the code, once I had the database and everything, sure, it took me 3 hours just because I had messed something up in my code, really. So it took about an hour for them to clean that up. But otherwise, in just 2 hours, 2.5 hours, they did a fabulous job. They walked me through everything step by step.
Mm-hmm.
And they helped me set up this entire thing,
Okay.
including my applications, including my tools, installing them, deploying the code, running them, testing them, and seeing the whole thing in action and making Provaluate live.
Wow, wow. Good. So, without deployment support again, our dream is just a product dream is a dream, right? Because this is where, trust me, 95% businesses fail, right? They're very good at making it on their laptop or in a test environment, but when you take it to production, right, that's a different ball game. Right. And the second ball game after that comes is if you make a change, how do you then deploy it again on that thing, right? So that's a CI/CDs kind of a thing. That's another challenge yet to be faced, but that's another next challenge. We'll get there when we'll get there. Good.
Well, maybe just to add to that, Kunal, every time I make a change,
Mm.
and I need to, of course, I had to use GitHub as well, which is my repository where my code stays, right?
Yeah.
I just push it up on GitHub. And again, Rishabh over here from Rian Infotech, right? He was really helpful in teaching what is GitHub because I didn't know what
Correct.
is GitHub. Right?
GitHub. You should really, yeah.
Remember,
We
I'm from
forgot
the
about
HR
that. We need to
background.
little bit of GitHub also. Yes.
I
Correct.
remember I'm from the HR background, not the technology guy. I was able to do all of this by myself.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, these are not like rocket science. If you understand the purpose and context of it, then
Yeah.
it becomes, "Arey, yaar, this is it, right?" Like GitHub is like Google Drive for your codes. That's all. It helps maintain the
And
versions.
CloudBean has a benefit of a CI/CD integration. Each time I
Wow.
make a change,
Ah,
it can make it live.
nice.
So I don't
This is
need to
good.
run another code again.
Perfect. So that leg is also taken care then. Perfect. Good. So this all has been a long journey, Rohit. How do you feel? Or like, now, I mean, you were able to take it from a blueprint, transition from, you're the corporate life, 23 years of life, right? Learn to manage chaos, had some blueprints, started with one POC, build it on n8n, right? Then learned about Supabases and Lovable, then Cursor to integrate everything, and then deployment and CI/CD. So all this journey, right? How many months was it?
Roughly 3 months, I would say.
3 months. In 3 months, you were able to get your from an idea to production, okay, which is a feat in its together. That too coming from not tech background and learning GitHub and coding and challenges and all of that thing, right? So how does it?
And
What does
managing
it?
2 children.
10 managing two children. Absolutely. Okay. And so all of that, what possibility you see? I know this, I mean, I'm sure you have some certain mindset. I mean, it can be real also. Like, I know that journey is not here ended, right? This is like the beginning, right? Like you broke through a lot of, initial barriers, hesitations, chaos, and all that to build something new, and you gotten that. But in this 3 months, you have learned something. And what was your feeling first of all? Like, how did you feel that when you accomplished this, and what do you see next? Yeah, next what to do, right? So what's your? Let's start with what do you feel right now?
Well, I feel elated that I was able to do something which, people think of, people dream of and say, someday I want to have my own SaaS product and things like that.
Yeah.
Sure. And I've also dreamt about it many times, but this made it happen, right? These amalgamation of tools that came together, this coach, this community, right, who supported me throughout, all of this coming together to make sure that I succeed. That is what elates me.
Got
That
it.
is what gives me, I feel a little elated, of course, but I feel a lot more powerful today. I can see what are the possibilities that open up for me. I can see that entire blueprint now getting created. This is just one box of that. You
Correct,
remember
correct.
that,
This is
right?
step number one. Whenever I, think of a blueprint, right, I always think of One Piece, right? That guy has written like over 1,000 episodes, right? And still his journey is only like 25% over. He's telling, right? So, anyways, yeah, that's so big anyways, right? So it has over 10 years. It's running and running right now, and he's still selling that. Okay, there is still more story, to that. So it feels like that. Like you just did one, or let's say one season
Season
of
one, yeah.
season one, right? Yeah,
Actually, this is
of
just episode one.
episode one of season one, right? Abhi to.
So yeah, so coming back to this, what opens up for me is that while I built this for HR, right?
Mhm, mhm,
Tomorrow, when of course, in the daily routine communication with clients, understanding the problems,
yeah.
and wherever I see that there is an opportunity for a repetitive,
Mhm,
something that can be automated,
mhm,
along with some brain added to it, right?
mhm,
I
mhm.
can definitely create more such platforms, and now it will not take me 3 months. It
Now, yeah,
might just
that the
take me
cycle will
three
become closer.
weeks, maybe
Yeah, to
three
get an
days.
yeah. But I think so. Now the question becomes that the next question is which idea should we take and which clients are willing to pay for. So
Yes.
that is the next. I mean, that's another ball game of so prioritization metric and selling and offer creation and marketing, different other things, sales calls and all that kind of thing. But I think so. That's our next movement in that's the direction. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Rohit. This was amazing, right? And what was like if you had to give like a top three, your gyan, Rohit's gyan, if you have like 300 people sitting there, potentially many people seeing this video, right? Top three takeaways that people should keep in mind. And this is perspective years. Don't think about what the world is saying, what I'm saying, or what this is purely your experience. So, what is the top one learning, two learning, and three that people should keep in mind so that they can do this also and get their own app done. Yeah.
Sure. Right. So, and I'll talk from my experience.
Yeah.
One, I would say, with so much happening out there, don't get overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to run everywhere. You don't need
Mm-hmm.
to do everything. Pick one thing that you want to do that is
Mm-hmm.
important to you, and
Mm-hmm.
do that.
Yeah.
Just one thing. Good
Yeah.
enough. But do it so well
Mm-hmm.
that, even with the AI boom coming in, like
Mm-hmm.
people told me, right, that why do I need a tool like this? I could just put my JD and my CV on ChatGPT and it'll give me some result. I said,
Mm-hmm.
yes, exactly. You'll get some result.
Mm-hmm.
You will not get the result, right?
Correct. Correct.
There's a vast difference there.
Yeah.
So that's part one, right? So just focus on one thing that you want to do rather than
Mm-hmm.
getting overwhelmed with all of the paraphernalia, everything that's happening around, right, in the
Mm-hmm.
world. Second is do.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Do it.
do it, right?
Just do it. Okay.
Just
Perfect.
go out there and
Don't
experiment.
be in the tutorial hell. Just do it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes, we just want to sit down and say, oh, wait, let me learn first. Then I will do it.
Mm.
I think in today's world that it does not hold true. And, one of the things that, we do in the accelerated learning is that you do it and then you make the mistake, you'll fail and you'll do it again and then you will learn. And
Mm-hmm.
because it's so modular and so easy to join all of these bricks together, it
Mm-hmm.
really, failure is not, ultimate, right? You just
Mm-hmm.
fail, you just replace a block and move on. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
keep doing, and that is how you will learn. So do and learn, rather than learn and do.
Got it.
Uh,
So doing it and then learning is that's the best approach. Just don't keep learning and and do it. So there's a second one, and the third one is which
the
one?
third one I like to tell, or something I like to share about is teach people,
Yeah.
right? So in my teaching, when I train, right,
Mm,
there is an immense amount of learning that I do. One, in preparation, and
correct.
second, while I'm training, and they have a question, and I go back and ponder,
Yeah.
what about this?
Correct.
And then I research back. There's so much I learn from
Mm,
teaching, right?
correct.
Go out there and teach.
That's it. That's it. Perfect. I mean, second and third to aligns with what we do actually, right? Learn and teach kind of a philosophy. So thank you. This is number one is don't get overwhelmed. Pick up one problem and do it. Number two is basically don't just keep learning. Do and then learn, right? And the third one is basically teach it back because you get to learn so much and you get good clarity while you're explaining the concepts, right? Which is part of the reason I keep coming every week and teaching because my learning grows. So I mean it's a selfish thing, but over years it compounds. right? So thank you very much for sharing this, Rohit, and the journey. I'm sure a lot of people, new enthusiasts, AI entrepreneurs or agencies will take inspiration from this journey. And thank you for sharing that, Rohit. Thank you very much, and taking action, first of all. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Kunal.